All right, let me explain how this went down today. I had some different things to get done before I got to the studio. One of those was swinging into downtown Portland to get my hair cut. Got to keep the lettuce tight. And so I get there, and the person at the front desk said, "Hey, your stylist will be ready in just a moment." And I said, "No problem." So I sat down. I had my backpack with me, and I sat down on the couch, and I pull out my phone, and I'm just scrolling through a couple of different headlines and making sure that my mind is right on all the different things I have to get done today because hectic schedule, what can I say? And I start scrolling through Twitter, which is now X, and I see this headline, Carl Weathers passes away at 76. And I was like, no, that can't be true. And I looked at the headline, and I checked several other sources, and I was like, no! I can't believe it. Freaking Apollo Creed is dead. Carl Weathers passes away at the age of 76. And this is part of the thing that my dad has been warning me about now for years. As you get older, your friends, your family, entertainers, people that were a part of your life and who you grew up with start to pass away. And I got to thinking about it because the Rocky franchise, the movies, had such an influence on me at a young age. Apollo Creed is, without question, one of my favorite movie characters in the history of my life. And then he went on to do other greats. Predator. Of course, his work in Happy Gilmore is legendary. But his role of Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies is unbelievable. Apollo Creed. Carl Weathers has passed away at the age of 76. That's a tough one. That's a gut punch. And, of course, he was a football player. He played for the Raiders in the NFL and was a linebacker. And I have tried for years because he interacted with me once on X. I have tried for years. I got his phone number. I stalked him on social media. I stalked him via the phone. I did everything within my power to be able to get him on the show and talk with him about football and his career and everything else. And it just never materialized. But, man, what a stud. What a gangster. And that's one of those actors that matters. His roles, his influence, and the things that he was able to accomplish, and his long list of credits is incredible. Unbelievable. That's one of those gut punches you weren't prepared for. And I hate it when it comes up in life. It's like, no, not him.
We got to change sometime.
I don't want to change, man. I like who I am.
I like who you are, too, but look at that. You know? You don't want to believe this, but that ain't us up there no more, pal. We can't do that the way we did it before. We're changing. We're like turning into regular people.
Nah, Stallion. Maybe you think you're changing. But you can't change what you really are. And you can forget all this money and stuff you got all around you, man, because it don't change a thing. You and me, we don't even have a choice. See, we're born with a killer instinct that you can't just turn off and on like some radio. We have to be right in the middle of the action because we're the warriors. And without some challenge, without some damn war to fight, then the warrior may as well be dead, Stallion. As a friend. Stand by my side this one last time.
You're a great talker, pal. Right, but when this is over...
You know me, Stallion. Always think of something else.
Yeah, tough. I'm looking at the report here. Carl Weathers, the actor best known as Apollo Creed in the Rocky movies, and more recently for his role in the hit Star Wars series The Mandalorian, died Thursday in his sleep, according to his family. He was 76. Quote, "We are deeply saddened to announce the passing of Carl Weathers. Carl was an exceptional human being who lived an extraordinary life. Through his contributions in film, television, the arts, and sports, he has left an incredible mark and is recognized worldwide across generations. He was a beloved brother, father, grandfather, partner, and friend." Weathers got his big screen break in 76 when he landed the role of Creed in Rocky. He continued his role in 3 other Rocky movies. Weathers also landed parts in 1987's Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger. in Adam Sandler's Happy Gilmore and on the small screen in The Mandalorian. Weathers was also the voice of Combat Carl in the Toy Story 4 and other shorts in the beloved Disney Pixar franchise. He also earned comedy cred by playing a bizarro version of himself in the cult sitcom Arrested Development. Other TV acting credits include Law and Order, Special Victims Unit, Magnum PI, and Chicago PD. Before his decades-long acting career took off, Weathers saw success on the gridiron. He played collegiately at San Diego State University and then professionally for the Oakland Raiders. He retired from the sport in '74 to seriously pursue acting. He was nominated for an Emmy in 2021 for Outstanding Guest Actor for the reoccurring role as Grief Karga in The Mandalorian. Adam Sandler posted on X Friday today that his Happy Gilmore co-star will forever be known as a true legend. Quote, a true man, great dad, great actor, great athlete, so much fun to be around. Smart as hell, loyal as hell, funny as hell, loved his sons more than anything. What a guy. Everyone loved him. My wife and I had the best times with him every time we saw him. Love to his entire family, and Carl will always be known as a true legend. That's according to Adam Sandler. So there you go. Wow. Absolutely wow. But he's one of those guys, one of those actors. And we all have them in our life, right? The ones that play those iconic roles that have an impact on us.
Damn, Ron, come on! What's the matter with you? There is no tomorrow! There is no tomorrow! There is no tomorrow!
He went down forevermore as a true OG when he started dropping the hashtag ding ding on his tweets.
Ding, ding.
I saw that. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Oh, there you go. So that's the news for today. What a franchise, what a character, and what a life well lived there by Carl Weathers. All right, Chad doing here. It's Blazers Game Day. Here's what we got coming up on the show. It's an extended version of Blazers Game Day because we have the early game in Denver, which will kick off at 6 o'clock. What a great opportunity for the Portland Trailblazers right now, who are coming off their best game of the year. And they're playing the best team in the NBA, in my mind, the defending champs. And you get back-to-back games in Denver. You've got tonight and you've got Sunday. And I think right now the Trailblazers are best equipped to deal with a team like Denver on the road because we have continuity within the starting lineup. With the front court now settled, DeAndre Ayton is in. He's back, and he's had 5 straight games of great production. Jabari Walker has made that seamless transition from the bench into the starting lineup. And with him at power forward focused on rebounding, it's been great because it's freed him up to allow Jeremy Grant to do what he does best. And Grant's responded by being aggressive, attacking the rim, hitting shots, and getting to the free throw line, and being one of the primary scorers next to Ant on the team. And then off the bench, Scoot Henderson has adjusted to his role and has played great over the last couple of weeks. And he was terrific in the game against Dame and the Bucks on Wednesday, scoring 15 points off the bench and being a true factor in that first half. So there's a lot of good vibes around the team right now, but I think most importantly, aside from the individuals, the way that they're playing, the way that the Trailblazers are playing right now, they're moving the bodies, they're moving basketball, and they're getting a lot of passes in games. And this is something that's taken place over a couple of weeks with further emphasis from the coaching staff. And look at what the result is. Better offense, better shots, better shooting percentage, and better production. They had 26 assists in the win against Milwaukee on Wednesday. They had 29 in their victory over Philadelphia. And throughout the 4-game road trip before they came back home and took on Chicago, you could see the assist numbers were up. Ball movement, player movement. So we're starting to see signs of life on offense with the guys playing the way that Chauncey wants them to play. That's a very good thing. And then, of course, the continued development of the youngsters. Tamani Kamara, rookie, developing. He was a key cog defensively in the victory over Milwaukee on Wednesday, especially in the last couple of sequences when Milwaukee had a chance to either tie or win the game, and he's flying around like a madman, contesting, defending, and being an irritant. And I love it. Jabari Walker, second year, second-round draft pick, put in the time, worked really hard during the offseason, and with his continued attention to detail, playing the way the coaches want him to play, and now getting an opportunity in the starting lineup, he's continuing to thrive. And Scoot Henderson, after the very slow start to the year, is starting to emerge. He's playing better. He's got a lot of work to do. He's got to continue to work on the shooting percentage, but we saw flashes of brilliance in that game Wednesday. The explosion, the attack mode, getting above the rim. On that dunk, his head was above the rim. He's got the physical capabilities. He's a terrific player. So very excited to see what he continues to do. And with Shaden Sharp, he's still out with the abdominal strain, but he has shown flashes. So I like the way the young guys are coming along. But I think the best part right now is just having more bodies available, having some continuity to the lineup, either with the starting five or off the bench, guys knowing their roles and having been on the floor more minutes with each other, starting to play better basketball. So all in all, it's a very good thing. So I will recap the Trailblazers' victory over the Bucks. We will take a look ahead to the game against Denver. We're going to hear from Chauncey Billups. We'll focus in with What's the Scoot on Scoot Henderson. But when we come back, because it's an extended edition of Game Day, I want to talk some football with the big game coming up a week from Sunday, Chiefs and 49ers from Las Vegas. Our college football and NFL insider, Alex Brink, former Coug and with E4 Sports, is going to join us next. It's Game Day here on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, joining us right now on Game Day is our college football and NFL insider. We got to talk to him a week ahead of the Super Bowl. It is the one and only Alex Brink, who's back on the program. Alex, what's up, buddy?
What's going on? How we doing?
Oh, so good. A lot of things to talk with you about. I want to start with this. Jim Harbaugh seems like a no-brainer in L.A. with the Chargers. I love it. What are you expecting in this marriage between he and Justin Herbert?
Well, I mean, you absolutely get, obviously, a quarterback mind, an elite offensive mind from that standpoint. But, Harbaugh, he's been through it, right? At the NFL level, he has a ton of success at Michigan. So he got a lot of cachet when he comes in. And he's going to get some probably get buy-in from the room overall. There are a lot of veterans on that roster. And Justin Herbert's obviously an elite quarterback and a fantastic leader. And so as long as Herbert and Jim Harbaugh see eye to eye and they get things right offensively, I think this has a chance to be, to your point, a pretty special thing.
And for Herbert, don't you think it'll be good for him at this stage in his career to have more expectations, more detail, more demand on his capabilities with someone that knows how to get it done?
There's no doubt about it. And he needs somebody who the offense is going to be the focus, right? You want the balance, obviously all three phases, but there is a difference between having an offensive head coach and more of a defensive-minded head coach. And I do think, for Herbert, having somebody like Harbaugh who's been there and done it and seen it and been around it has real benefits.
We're talking with Alex Brink, former Coug. He's with E4 Sports here on the Rip City Drive. Dan Campbell received a lot of criticism for his fourth down decision-making. And I don't want to debate the decisions with you, but, Alex, what I would like to know is how would you use analytics for those game situations if you were running a football team?
I think analytics have a place, certainly have a place in the game, but I do really feel like part of the issue with analytics in general is that you're talking about a relatively limited data set, that is continually getting proved and disproved, and they're adding to it. So, that conversation is going to be better the more it happens, but to some degree, I think that football, one, there's so many factors that go into it, be it, emotional, be it the players on the field, be it the time and the situation, the things that go with just flat out playing the game, that it's really hard to look at a spreadsheet and say, hey, this is absolutely the time to go because the numbers say. And I understand the law of averages, but the reality is that in football, when you're on the wrong side of the average, it can have devastating consequences, as you find out. And that's where, as we found out multiple times, not just with Dan Campbell, and that's where you got to balance that risk-reward. And I think, so I think whether the decision's right or wrong or not, personally, I would use it as a reference point and not as a Bible.
Are you surprised that Ben Johnson's returning to Detroit next season?
I really am, just because, more so because of the landscape of the NFL. When it comes to offensive football and offensive-minded head coaches, it's been the trend to go hire the hot offensive coordinator. And so, we don't really know the specifics of why he didn't get hired at some of the places he interviewed, but it surprises me in general because it seems like whoever the flavor of the year is offensively, from an offensive coordinator standpoint, they get the next head coaching gig. So it does surprise me that he's returning to Detroit, but boy, is it a huge pickup or, a huge thing for them to keep it.
No question about it. Alex Brink here on Blazers Game Day as we get ready for the Blazers and Nuggets tonight. And, of course, the Super Bowl is coming up a week from Sunday. In back-to-back weeks, Brock Purdy overcame slow starts in the first half to help his team to victory. What are your thoughts on his play thus far in the postseason?
Well, it's been fantastic. He's in the sense that he's done everything he's needed to get the W's, which is what you really have to do. And, there's going to be ups and downs. I mean, it's fascinating, and I'm a culprit here. At times, the conversation around Brock Purdy is the same as the conversation around, say, Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen when it comes to experience and expectation, right? It's like, oh, he should be performing at the same level as these guys. He's in his second year, everybody, right? And he was Mr. Irrelevant. Like, it's not like it's a foregone conclusion that every time he steps on the field, he should find success, not because he doesn't have the talent, but because he's young. So there has to be an element when you evaluate Brock Purdy that, like, you say, yeah, like, he's going to make some mistakes. But, boy, does he have some elite intangibles, some elite tools, an athletic ability that people did not give him credit for coming into the league that has become a game changer over the last few weeks. So, again, I think he's played really well. I think he's found ways to get first downs and manufacture touchdowns and make big plays. And I think he's always fighting to try and get the credit, and I think it's time he deserves it.
All right, Alex, I want to go back to what you were saying with the offensive coaches. If you look around the league, what Ben Johnson did with Detroit was impressive. Matt LaFleur and the work he did with Jordan Love over the course of the season and the way they finish out the year. And then look at Andy Reid. They struggled on offense throughout the season, and the receivers were a big problem with all the drops and the issues and the youth. And yet here we are in the postseason where they've put 3 games back to back to back together where they've been much better and effective. What are your thoughts on the job that Andy Reid has done with that offense and the receiving core to get them to this point to where they can have success and now compete for a championship?
Andy Reid's just a fantastic coach. I mean, he's got, obviously, his X's and O's are incredible, but I think what some people don't realize is, his approach to, managing a room and managing an organization and the locker room of, adult alpha males is revolutionary. He does a great job connecting with those individuals. I was very fortunate to spend some time with him out at the BYU Coaches Clinic last spring, and I listened to him talk, and I was just thinking, this is a guy who's been in the NFL and had a ton of success. Yet he's talking about every time he walks in the room how he treats players and how he treats them with respect, and he's asking them their opinion, and he's always worried about where those guys are at. And thing about the NFL is that when you have players like that, say you have receivers that are underperforming, the knee-jerk reaction from most coaches is to place blame and to say, well, you're here, you're in the NFL, you should be able to do this, right? And they expect the ready-made player to walk through the door. And good coaches realize that everybody has opportunities to grow. And I think what Andy Reid showed this year is the ability to bring those guys along, both from a fundamental standpoint, a play calling standpoint, but I really think it's coaching. It's what the definition of coaching is. He's coached them to be better, and they're better at the end of the year when it matters most.
Boy, I've really grown to respect him, Alex. And how about his quarterback, Patrick Mahomes? The dude is a freak, and I just watch him and marvel because I'm like, wow, we're watching maybe the best of all time at his game. But with the way he plays, and you play the position, so you study quarterbacks, Alex. What are some underrated elements that he brings to the game that maybe go unnoticed that you love?
Oh, it's hard to say that anything's underrated with Mahomes, just with how gifted he is and how talented he is. I mean, I guess the thing I would say, and this is part of what makes him great, so it kind of cuts both ways. The reality is that he plays the game so loose that he almost puts himself in some bad situations at times that he probably wouldn't be in if he was a little more disciplined with his feet, if he stayed more consistent with his reads and his eyes. But he'll do that and put himself in a bad spot, and then he'll make a miraculous throw. And that's what's so special about Mahomes. But there'll be times you watch his game and he's taking a drop and he ends up over the right tackle for no reason at all. And then all of a sudden it looks like he's going to get sacked, and then he escapes the sack, and then he makes a throw on the run across his body, right? So probably should have never been in the situation to begin with, but he gets out of it. And really, in the end, at the quarterback position at all levels, it only matters. The result is all that matters. It doesn't matter how you get there.
Yeah, you know what he feels like to me this year with a team that is not as dynamic offensively but has the best defense in the NFL? You and I both love golf. He feels like a golfer right now, maybe at a course that's much tighter with a lot of trees, where instead of pulling out driver, he's pulling out the 3-iron or the hybrid to be a little more exact with his game. And I just respect that for a guy that can make all the throws.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, it feels, I think if you think about kind of the Josh Allen comparison this year specifically, right, it felt like Allen was trying to play the same game that he's always played, and it put Buffalo in a tough spot at times during the year, whereas Mahomes, kind of found ways to work around it. And maybe that's Andy Reid, right? Maybe that's coaching that's helped him along that way.
Alex Brink, E4 Sports, former Coug here on Blazer Game Day, talking a little football. I don't want your prediction yet, but what's the matchup you're going to watch in this game as you think about the Chiefs and Niners?
Kind of the same thing I talked about, prior to the division series with the Niners and that front seven. I mean, if that front four in particular, but the front seven defensively controls that line of scrimmage for the Niners, they create all sorts of problems for offenses, right? And that's where the Chiefs at times over the years have struggled when they've lost, which they haven't done a ton in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl. When they've lost, it's because they can't protect. And that would be my fear for the Chiefs is that, as that offensive line got retooled coming into this year and has played better, but it's still a weak spot, can Mahomes make every miraculous play and escape every sack? And if he can't, and they get behind the chains, that'll be a real problem.
Do you know or have you had a chance to talk with Mike McDonald, who's now the head coach in Seattle, who was the Ravens defensive coordinator? Do you know him?
I don't know him. Don't have any experience with him. I mean, outside looking in, just a fantastic coach. I mean, a guy that really, risen through the ranks fast. But he's been around great people. You talk about him being around Harbaugh at Michigan. He's obviously with the Ravens, and he was with John Harbaugh. I mean, he's clearly has an acumen, and he's a great defensive play caller, and he's put together, a really impressive resume early on, and it'll be interesting to see. I think the young head coach kind of, again, that same idea as, young offensive-minded head coaches, but you're just seeing young head coaches in general, Robert Saleh and D'Amico Ryans on the defensive side, and I think he fits that mold of a guy that maybe can come in and connect with those players and do something special.
All right, final question for you. Dan Quinn, now the guy in Washington, if you talk to people around the game or who work in the game, they all respect him a great deal, and he's had success everywhere he's been. What do you think about Dan Quinn with the Commanders now?
I'm so excited that Quinn's getting another shot. I think, he did incredible things in Seattle in his first stint, and then gets that Atlanta job. And, it probably wasn't a great situation for him, but he still did some good things. And I really believe that Dan Quinn's a head coach in the National Football League. And, he's an elite defensive mind, but he is really well thought of in the way he deals with players and the way he deals with staff. And, I feel like he has a chance in Washington to hopefully kind of remake that franchise with new ownership. You got to figure out, is Sam Howell the quarterback of the future? What's that look like? And if they can kind of nail down some of those things, which are big rocks, I do think Dan Quinn's the right man for the job.
Well, Alex, I'm excited about this because E4 Sports is now getting into the golf game, and you and I both love golf, and I think it's terrific you're doing that. But your partnership with Headquarters Physical Therapy, which is the PT for the pros, how are you bringing that together to help with your golf element of E4 Sports?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, my passion for the game of golf. My business partner, Ryan DePaulo, it's been super fun with Headquarters Physical Therapy. HQPT is all about a personalized physical therapy experience for, the everyday active person. That could be a hiker, a runner, a CrossFitter, if you get injured, nicked up, whatever it is. And they provide a really personalized experience when it comes to physical therapy. And for the golfer, that's become so paramount when you think about golf nowadays, right? It's trickling down from the pros all the way down where you have the three phases. You got to have your swing, you got to have your fitness, and you got to have your health. And HQPT is a special partnership with the Golf Farm, run by Brian Henninger and Amy Simonton over in Tualatin, where we have a physical therapist and an office working out of there doing TPI screens. And we're really excited to have HQPT be at the Portland Golf Show the first weekend in March. Going to have a booth doing TPI screens, showcasing what we can provide the everyday golfer who wants to stay healthy, have fun, get out on the course, not worry about their back, not worry about their shoulder, feeling bad. And so check out HQPT. There's a golf tab, headquarterspt.com. There's a golf tab on there. You can see more about how we're helping the golfers here in the Portland metro area.
Dude, you're the man. You are a former quarterback. You've got everything going on with E4 Sports. You're a husband, and you've also got two young ones, and you're finding a way to sneak off into a dark room to call in and talk a little sports with me, dude. I love it. Thank you.
Man, that's what it's all about. I'm lucky to have a great business partner who's watching Baby Penny right now while I do the interview. So happy to be here, man. I appreciate you so much, and we're excited for the Super Bowl coming up. Can't wait to talk about that.
Thanks, buddy.
Take care.
All right, love Alex Spring. Big thanks, Dan, for joining the show. So we talked about Apollo Creed and Carl Weathers. We got some football talk in. When we come back on game day, we'll recap what went down on Wednesday night. What a special night at Moda Center. That was so much fun. We need more moments like that. We need more moments at Moda Center like we all experienced on Wednesday. Dame had a return. The franchise was Nothing but class. The fans, as usual, classy. He got the love. The Blazers got the win. It was a great night. So we'll recap what went down. We'll hear from Chauncey Billups a little bit later. I'll give you an update on the injury report, and then we'll get things rolling. Chris Burkhart's got the Trailblazer pregame show coming up at 5. Tip-off from Denver with Travis Demers and Michael Holton on the call at 6 o'clock here on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio. Man, what a night. Damian Lillard made his return to Moda on Wednesday. I wondered how the crowd would respond and how the voice of Moda Center, Mark Mason, would handle the intros. Here's how it sounded.
First for the visiting Milwaukee Bucks, who enter tonight's game with a record of 32 wins and 15 losses, good for second place in the Eastern Conference. On the floor tonight for the Bucks, starting at guard, 6'4", from Florida State, number 5, Malik Beasley. At guard, 6'3", from Weber State, wearing the letter O, Damian Lillard.
That's so awesome. The ovation went on for a minute. A standing ovation for Dame for a minute, which was terrific. And I had Mark Mason on the Rip City Drive yesterday, and I asked him about the production meetings and the preparation for that game and how they came up with the decision on how they would handle Dame. And they decided to have him be first with the guards. And I asked him about how he would introduce him. Would he do it like he always did when he was a Trailblazer? Or would he introduce him like a typical road player? And it took him about 5 seconds. And they're like, no, we got to do it the right way. And they introduced him the way they always would at Moda Center. And he got the proper ovation. I just thought the entire night with the tribute videos, with the press conference before the game, with the way that they introduced him, and the way he was treated by fans throughout the course of the night. Even Chauncey Billups had some wonderful things to say about Dame. It was all class. It was very much Rip City. So props to the Portland Trailblazers for the way that they went out of their way to handle the entire situation. It was perfect. Absolutely perfect. Great night, great atmosphere. You know, Michael Shacker told me during the game, I was sitting next to him on the visiting radio side. He goes, I haven't felt it like in this building since a playoff game. And that's exactly what it felt like. And it made me want the playoffs again. It made me want to experience that type of atmosphere because that building, when it's lit up like that, you know, Trailblazer fans are pretty awesome. And the arena experience when you have a moment like that's the best. I just want more moments like that. That's all. So Mark Mason was money. And the Trailblazers, with the way they dealt with Dame, was terrific. The first quarter of action was great. It saw the Trailblazers jump out to a 10-5 lead. That was following a Jeremy Grant three-pointer, and there was 9:14 on the clock in the first. And Milwaukee got after it. Didn't take long for the response. The Bucks went on a tear. 24-11 run capped off by a Jay Crowder hoop, which put the Bucks up 29-21 with 4:04 remaining in the first. But the Blazers, they didn't wilt under the pressure. They thrived. Portland closed the quarter on a 16-9 run and cut the deficit to 1. Scoot Henderson scored 9 points during that stretch for the Blazers. He was aggressive, didn't appear to feel any pressure at all. I thought he was the story of the first half for me. He was awesome. The Bucks on top 38-37 at the end of the first. Scoot led Portland with 11 points in the first. Giannis had 9. Dame 8 on 3 of 5 shooting. Portland with 9 assists in the first quarter on 55% shooting, and they were sizzling from downtown 5 of 8. The Blazers opened the second quarter, 12-7 run. They took a 49-45 lead following a scoop bucket. A Bucks 10-2 run, finished off by a Chris Middleton basket, gave the Bucks a 55-51 lead with 6:32 left in the half. A Trailblazers 14-8 run would give them a 2-point lead with 1 minute remaining in the half, and the Blazers would go on to score or to hold a 67-65 lead heading into the locker room at halftime. The Blazers shot 55% in the first half, 8 of 15 from downtown. Scoot led Portland with 15. Ant had 11. For the Bucks, Dame and Giannis each scored 15. Well-played first half, 17 assists for the Blazers, and just 1 turnover. I want more of that. 17 assists and 1 turnover. Yes, please. We move on to the second half. A Giannis scoop and score capped off a Bucks 9-2 run to open up the third, giving Milwaukee a 74-69 lead with just over 10 minutes remaining in the period. It was a back-and-forth quarter that saw the game tied at 81 with just 5 minutes left following a bucket from Simons. And then Portland ripped off a 10-4 run and put them up 91-85 with just under 3 minutes remaining. Simons hit a bucket with 3 seconds left in the quarter. It gave Portland a 96-91 lead entering the fourth. Ant, he was the Blazers' meal ticket in the third with 11. Portland had 23 assists after 3 quarters and just 3 turnovers. And the hot shooting continued in the third with Portland at 50%. So we move on to the fourth quarter. Blazers scored the first 5 points of the fourth after a Malcolm Brogdon 3. It forced a Doc Rivers timeout, and the fans going crazy. A Lillard 3 cut the Blazers' lead to 6 at 101-95, forcing a Billups timeout. Just under 9 minutes remaining at that point, and then Milwaukee ripped off a 19-8 run, capped off by a Lopez 3, cut the Blazers' lead to 1 at 113-112, and at this point, 2:45 remaining on the clock. Jeremy Grant then hit an amazing bucket, falling to his left. Couldn't believe it went in. And it put the Blazers back up by 3 at 115-112. And then the team tried to give everyone at the arena a heart attack. After a Lopez missed 3, Portland had a chance to push their lead to 5. DeAndre Ayton grabbed an offensive rebound, missed a close putback, grabbed the rebound again, and then turned it over. On the other end, Dame attacked and threw down a nasty dunk. On the Blazers' next possession, Simons committed an awful turnover, and the ball ended up out of bounds, and the Bucks would end up taking the lead on a jam from Giannis. It's 116 to 115, Milwaukee with 37.2 seconds on the clock, and you're like, no, what just happened here? But Anthony Simons redeemed himself. After he nearly turned it over again, he regrouped and attacked the paint and used a nasty Euro step to score and gave Portland the lead by 1 with 17.6 seconds on the clock. Now, at this point, everyone was preparing for Dame to take the final shot and drop a dagger into the hearts of Rip City. Lopez got the inbound. He got the ball to Dame, but the Blazers did a great job of forcing the ball out of Dame's hands with Tamani Kamara flying around like a madman. And then Lopez hoisted a three, and he missed. Portland got the rebound. Grant hit a couple of free throws. The Blazers are up 3. Milwaukee was out of timeouts, and Portland did the smart thing by fouling Giannis at about half court. He missed the first, intentionally missed the second. Portland would secure the ball and collect a 119-116 victory to make it back-to-back wins. What a fun night, fun game, great atmosphere. The fans showered Dame with love and respect. I thought the entire situation and scene was awesome. And after the game, Billups talked about his group.
Yeah, it kind of happens to us, when we start, getting guys healthy. You have to find ways to, manufacture offense and get guys the ball. You want everybody to start to become cohesive and together. And, we've been really trying to make a real effort to get the ball to DA, and he's been doing a really good job. When he's getting it lately, he's starting to find himself in what we're doing. But, when you do that, other things are kind of off a little bit. And it's just we haven't played together enough to understand it yet. You just try to piece it together, get that going, and I'm really happy to see that. We just keep piecing it all back together, and hopefully we can just be healthy for long enough to start to find some synergy in all of it. But, yeah, I just thought, our turnovers, I don't think that's what cost us today. I mean, I thought our turnovers really cost us. We go 6 for 33 from 3. It's tough to win a game like that, But we did a good job of getting on the free throw line, but they just controlled the paint, man. They really did. They controlled the paint on us.
All right, that's Billups talking about DA and, how the guys are trying to make an effort to get him more involved in the offense and the way it's working right now. But he was really proud of his group for staying connected together throughout the course of that game against the Bucks, even when it got tough in the fourth quarter.
Man, the atmosphere was awesome, obviously, and we knew that would be the case. I just didn't think the moment was too big for our team. We just played so hard. We played together. We continue to get better just playing for each other. We didn't come unraveled. At the end, we had a lot of miscommunications in that fourth quarter that we got to clean up defensively. But, man, even when we did, we just stayed together. No finger pointing, no body hanging there. We just stayed together. And I just think we're learning so much, of the only way that we can truly compete is if we do it together. And as I tell them all the time, like, age, that stuff don't matter, We all professionals. We all are supposed to be here. We earn the right. Like, we should be able to lock in and just play the right way and see what happens. And I thought tonight was a great example of that.
That's great. Good atmosphere. They stayed together. That's important to Billups. After the game, Dame did admit to being drained. The whole entire experience of coming back, all the attention, all the questions, all the phone calls, all the messages. Maybe you don't recognize it in the moment, but afterwards you're like, wow, that was a lot.
Overall, it was just, more than anything, it was just kind of draining, you know what I mean? Just everything around it and what it was. I ain't gonna say I'm happy that it's over, but I'm just like, just dealing with everything that came with it. I've been asked a million times, like, what is it like being back in Portland and how do you feel and all of this stuff, but I really enjoyed being back, but just the whole spectacle of it is just, just a little bit draining,
Yeah. He did say, and this is pretty cool, I talked about the class of the organization and the fans, and Dame felt it. He felt it. It was cool.
I just felt appreciated, I think that's what it comes down to. You just feel the appreciation and the love, and I just kind of stood in it. It was like, man, this is a big deal, just to take that moment and to have everybody in the building just show me that type of love. It's acknowledgement of a lot of things, during my time here. So I appreciated it. And that was it.
All right, injury update. Good news for your Portland Trail Blazers tonight, as it's just the usual suspects. Moses Brown still out with the wrist fracture. Shaden Sharp is out with the lower abdominal strain. And, of course, Robert Williams is out for the year with the ligament tear in his knee, but everyone else should be available. Ryan Rupert is questionable. For the Denver Nuggets tonight, Nikola Jokic is listed as questionable. Jamal Murray is probable. And as I get details, as we get closer to tip-off, I'll keep you posted on that. But that's what we're looking at tonight. Blazers and Nuggets. Great opportunity for Portland to challenge themselves against the best team in the NBA at the point in the season where they're playing their best basketball. Denver will test you. But I like the continuity of the lineup right now. I like the way the guys are really locked in on the offensive end, moving the basketball, moving bodies. You know, assist numbers are up. And we'll see how things shake out. When we come back on game day, we'll step into what's a Scoot, and we'll focus in on Scoot Henderson. I thought his play in the first half was sensational, and I know a lot of you saw that as well. So we'll talk about that next. Blazers, Nuggets from Denver coming up at 6 here on 620 Rip City Radio. All right, Scoot Henderson, I thought that first half he had against Milwaukee on Wednesday might have been his best play of the season, but he's had a lot of good moments over the last 10 games. He had that career-high 33 points against Phoenix back on January 14th. I thought his performance in that wacky game against Oklahoma City that they got screwed by the officiating at the end, he was terrific, 19 points, 4 rebounds. The most encouraging sign is over the last 4 games, he's shooting over 50% from the field. But, the debate with Scoot, there's part of me that thinks you just got to throw him out there and let him start and play big minutes and go through the struggles, regardless, and just live with it and continue to let him grow. That's where I was at the beginning of the season. Just start him and whatever. You're not going to make a playoff run this year anyway, so just start him and deal with it. But the Blazers have found a good role for him, and they really like him in this second unit right now to allow him the chance to grow, to not be overwhelmed, to have a chance to go up against the secondary players on the other team. And he's kind of found a groove out there on the floor operating in that. And he's playing with confidence, and he's stringing together some good performances. The issue, and this comes up a lot, if you throw him out there in the starting lineup, let's say it's Ant and Scoot, and you got the rest of the guys out there in the starting lineup. The problem is, for your veteran players like Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant, when Scoot's on the floor, because the defense doesn't respect him and his ability to shoot, they sag off of him, and it causes the offense to bog down, and which means that Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant are in a tougher spot because they're not getting the looks they're accustomed to. So it's one of those balancing acts where it's like we want him to get experience, but we don't want to put some of our other key players in a tough spot. So how do you handle that? Well, we bring him off the bench. We define a role for him, and it can continue to grow in that space. And after seeing it, I don't necessarily have a problem with it. And then, of course, if they make any moves at the deadline, I was convinced at the start of the year and even just a few weeks ago that Malcolm Brogdon was definitely going to be gone by the deadline. But the talk recently, it's not 100%. He could remain. But if he were to get moved, it would open up even more minutes for Scoot as kind of that primary first guy off the bench. But regardless, they've carved out this role for him. And right now, with where this team is at, you know who the starters are going to be. It's going to be Malcolm Brogdon and Anthony Simons in the backcourt. When Shaedon Sharpe is healthy, my guess is he'll transition back into the starting lineup next to Ant. But your front court set, Ayton, Jabari Walker, and Jeremy Grant. And then off the bench, you've got Scoot and Tamani Kamara. And Scoot knows his role. I would say what I'm impressed with, he came off the bench, he started, now he's back on the bench. Regardless of what the role is that they've asked him to fill, he's been able to make a quick adjustment and do that. And that's impressive for a young player. So I like where he's at right now. I like the confidence. I like the way he's playing. And I thought that to be on that stage with Dame in that game against Milwaukee and not cower in fear, not be hesitant, but to be in attack mode and do what he did in the first half, it was truly impressive. And it's a very good sign. But I'm going to continue to speak to what I truly believe about Scoot and what I'm hearing about Scoot, from people around the team. What I like about him, just look at his demeanor when he's doing a post-game interview where he's talking about the team. The guy's always smiling. He's got good energy. He's not afraid to talk and share his thoughts. But he's a happy guy. Like, he's got this positive energy about him that's not fake, which is cool. A lot of guys are like, they're kind of quiet or they kind of give off that too cool for school type vibe, right? Where they don't want to talk or smile or whatever. That's not Scoot. He's just himself. So I like that his demeanor and his personality and that energy he's got. That's the type of energy and demeanor and the way you handle yourself that you need to be, a vocal leader. He's got those capabilities. And once the game matches that, he can take over the locker room. There's no question in my mind. Now, the good things that I hear about him, the work ethic. So this is a young guy, and you know how young guys are. They come into the NBA, they've got to learn how to work, how to practice, how to take care of their bodies, all these different things that are going on as they adjust to being a professional basketball player in the NBA life. But he shows up and puts in time on the court by himself, working on his offensive game, working on his shots. So he puts in a lot of time, works really hard in practice, has a very good ear when it comes to listening to the coaches and what they want and what they're looking for. And then he embraces that role and he listens to his teammates, his veteran teammates, and then he's able to move on from there. So he's got all the little pieces that you want. But that attitude, that demeanor, that approach, and the way he handles his business, that's what's going to lead to great success. That attitude, the work ethic, the demeanor. I mean, when you take that approach, you're going to be successful. So that's my reason for optimism with him. We're seeing significant growth compared to what we saw at the beginning of the year. And this guy's just a dynamite personality. So I guess what I'm trying to say is there's not much I don't love about Scoot right now. And if they want to be patient or a little more patient in their development process with him and have him come off the bench right now, after seeing it, I'm like, okay, that works. It works. And I'm all for it. But I like him, and I want to see more of that. He gave us such a great taste in the first half on Wednesday. I wanted to see more of that in the second half. So it's going to be fun to see him in this environment tonight in Denver against the quality team in the Denver Nuggets. All right, we'll come back and we'll step into the coach's corner. We got to hear from Chauncey Billups. Tip-off's coming up at 6. Blazers and Nuggets from Denver here on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio.
Glimpse into what you can kind of get out of these guys.
All right, let's step into the coach's corner with Chauncey Billups. Following the Blazers' 119-116 victory over the Bucks, obviously he was very happy with his group, especially with the way, how did he say it? They stayed together. What a night, what a scene, what an atmosphere. Man, it was by far the Trailblazers' best game. Loved the ball movement. They protected the ball, high assist number, no turnovers, or few turnovers. A great game. Let's take a listen to Coach Billups.
Chauncey, do you feel like this game in this atmosphere gave you a little glimpse into what you can kind of get out of these guys when the shot making gets going like that, the intensity kind of gets ratcheted up? It's their first real opportunity with something like that.
Yeah, I thought it was just, man, the atmosphere was awesome, obviously, and we knew that would be the case. I just didn't think the moment was too big for our team, you know. We just played so hard. We played together. We continue to get better just playing for each other. We didn't come unraveled. You know, at the end, we had a lot of miscommunications in that fourth quarter that we got to clean up defensively. Even when we did, we just stayed together, you know, no finger pointing, nobody, you know, hanging there. We just stayed together. And I just think we're learning so much, you know, the only way that we can truly compete is if we do it together, you know. And as I tell them all the time, like, age, that stuff don't matter, you know. We all professionals. We all are supposed to be here. We earn the right. Like, we should be able to lock in and just play the right way and see what happens. And I thought tonight was a great example of that.
What you just said about the moment not being too big for them, with this being such a young team, and you guys haven't played in any games that have any kind of real stakes like this with the fanfare around Dame and it being on national TV, were you surprised that the moment wasn't too big for them, or that, you know, is that what you expected?
I wasn't really surprised. Like I said, we don't have a lot of guys that have played with Dame, you know, so that part wasn't going to overwhelm them. And like I said, ignorance is bliss sometimes, man. You know, you don't even know what that feels like. You don't know what's going to happen. But I do know that our fans are so great, and when it's loud in there, it just fuels you. You know, it gives you everything you need. And we fed off of that.
What did you think of Ant's performance tonight? Particularly, you know, he turns the ball over, they go up, he comes back down, gets that Euro step, gets the floater to go. It seems like that showed a certain level of confidence on his part.
You know what I love about Ant? He's getting so much better at it. He just his memory. He don't hold on to turnovers, and you know, gave up a big backdoor layup when the defense was great. You know, late in the fourth quarter, and didn't hang his head. He understood. He was mad at himself. We didn't even have to get on him, and then you know the turnover in the back court. And he just kept going. He kept going. You know, I felt that they started to kind of trap him a little bit, and it confused him. So I just kind of cleared it out. So just everybody just get out the way. We got a matchup you like. You just go to work. No reason to get cute. You know, and his confidence was there. You know, so I was really happy for him. I thought he had a good game all around. I thought defensively he was solid as well.
How did you feel you guys did on Dame? You didn't get a ton of clean looks.
Yeah, he did. I thought we did a pretty good job on him. We mixed up the coverages a ton on him, try to keep him off balance. A lot of different people guarded him, you know, and we didn't want to give him too many clean looks. And, you know, I knew Dame was going to come in here and play the right way. He wasn't going to come out here and just try to go score 70. He was going to play the right way, and if that presented itself, he would have got going, but we was going to try our best to not let that happen. I thought Tumani was great on him, you know. Those 3 charges that Tumani took in the second half were incredible, you know. So that's why I stayed with him the whole time. He's earned the minutes, you know. So, man, we just had so many people play great, you know. I'm happy for us. I really am. I'm happy for our guys, man.
Speaking of Tumani, where'd that running hook shot thing come from?
That's the first time we all seen it. Yes.
You never did it in practice?
I haven't seen it.
Really?
Seen it tonight. I'm gonna tell him to put it to bed after this, though. That's good. Be perfect.
There are many nights where all eyes in a city are on your team, like there was tonight. Do you feel like you made a statement to the city of Portland of what this team could be?
Well, yeah, I think that if, our fans have been paying attention all year, when we've been healthy and the way that we play, they can appreciate it and get behind the way that we scrap and grind out there, and we do it together. I think obviously today is on another level, and I'm pretty sure 95% of the people in this state, was hoping that Dame played well, but the Blazers won, and I want Dame to play well 80 times a year, except for when he plays against us. But this was, I felt like, just a big character and win for us, and culture win for us.
What do you like about the way Scoot played tonight, but particularly the first half?
Loved it. I'm always on Scoot. I'm saying you should be fast and furious every night. So I want you to be fast and furious. We'll figure it out, whatever happens. And I just thought his attack, I told him at halftime, his aggressiveness and his downhill attacks, it opened the game up for us, and it had them on their heels the whole time. And Scoot has the type of personality that everybody feeds, that you feed off of him. He has big plays, and he's out there flexing and going like, we love that, That was a big game for him too, So I was happy about that with Scoot. I thought he played a really good game.
Chauncey, following up on that, one of the notes on Scoot coming out of the draft was that in those big moments, when he got those occasional chances, he seemed to rise to those occasions, whether it was against Wemby in Vegas and a couple of games that got televised. This is his first, national TV game, and the pomp and circumstance for that. Do you think that he's a kind of guy that maybe that juices him up just a little bit more, ratchets him up just a little bit more, and he can just kind of be kind of that guy that takes that to that another level when those stakes get up there?
Yeah, he's definitely that type of guy. He's looking for any challenge that you can put in front of him. He's a real competitor, and he wants to be great, and he's going to be. So he's looking for any of those type of challenges, and he's so hard on himself, man. He have one bad play, one bad turnover, like he is so pissed. I'm trying to get him out of that. But yeah, he's definitely gonna be one of those type of players that when the stakes are high, he's gonna bring the heat.
All right, there's Coach Billups following the Blazers' victory over the Bucks on Wednesday, 119 to 116. Great performance. I think for Chauncey Billups, he's been criticized by a large portion of the fan base throughout the year. And that's because a lot of fans, they just want change because they want change. Or they're frustrated because they thought the year was going to be one way and it's been a different. Like I've said about Chauncey throughout the course of the season from the beginning, I think this year compared to the last two when they were, tanking at the end to improve draft position, I think this is a better year of evaluation for Chauncey. But I don't want to evaluate him off 5 games or 10 games or, heck, half a season. I want to step back at the end of the year and take a look at everything based on player development, based on the culture he's laying down, based on how the guys are responding to the way he wants them to play. And just like players, coaches can go through slumps. They can progress. They can have wins. And I thought the game against Doc Rivers on Wednesday was a big-time win for Chauncey. Not only did the team outplay the Bucks, but he outcoached Doc. Was big with his challenges, stepped up in the right position. He just did a heck of a job. But truly, it was great. He did a heck of a job. And that's what you want to see. So big props to Chauncey. And the Blazers need those type of wins. So that's where we're at. And we'll see how things continue to shake out tonight. But what a great challenge. Denver, defending champs, probably the best team in the NBA. I was looking through. What do you think? I was looking through, and if you look at the standings right now, there are a lot of teams, especially in the Western Conference, where your 2 teams at the top are not your usual teams you're accustomed to seeing there. But you've got Minnesota at the top, 34-14. They're a game ahead of Oklahoma City. The Clippers are 3rd right now, 2 games back of Minnesota. And then Denver's lurking right there in 4th. So I think Denver's the best team in the West. I think they're the best team in the NBA. But in the Western Conference, I don't know what to make of Minnesota or Oklahoma City. I just know they're playing great basketball. I don't know what that means come playoff time for teams that aren't used to being in that type of situation, but I like the way they're playing. But we're seeing that separation. Right now it would appear that Minnesota, Oklahoma City, the Clippers, and the Nuggets are clearly your 4 best, and then you've got the group after that. Sacramento. Phoenix is playing better basketball of late. And you got the 7 through 10 club. New Orleans, Dallas, Lakers, Jazz. But if I had to pick one of those teams in the West, I think Denver is the cream of the crop. In the Eastern Conference, it's really one team, Boston. They're 4.5 games in front of Milwaukee, who's second. Knicks are third. It's going to come down to Boston or Milwaukee, but right now, based on their balance and the way they're playing, Boston's the best team. Milwaukee, and we saw this in the game against Portland on Wednesday, and it was the big part of the reason why I thought that Portland would win the game. They're trying to sort through a lot of issues defensively, adjusting to new coaching, new system, trying to figure out who they are. They're searching for their identity, and that could take some time. But they better get it resolved come playoff time because Boston's going to be a formidable foe. But with the injury to Embiid, it's Boston or Milwaukee. The Knicks are not a factor. Cavs, Sixers, Pacers, they've all had good years. I just think when it comes to representing the East in the finals, that it's going to come down to one of those two teams. In the Western Conference, it's Denver. The big question is, of that other group, Clippers, Timberwolves, Thunder, who's going to challenge the Nuggets? That's it. So the Blazers get a chance to take on one of the best. They get back-to-back games. They play tonight, and they'll play on Sunday against the Nuggets. And I'm waiting for word on Jokic to know if he's going to be a go tonight or not. All right, we'll keep things rolling. We'll come back on game day, and when we do, we'll give a scoreboard report and let you know what's going on in the association tonight. Chris Burkhart's standing by. He'll have the Trailblazer pregame show across the Trailblazers radio network coming up at 5. And I'll be back after the game for fifth quarter here on 620 Rip City Radio. All right, let's get you up to date around the association. A busy night on a Friday in the NBA, starting out in Detroit, where the Pistons are on top of the Clippers 15-6. First quarter in D.C., the Wizards lead the Heat 13-12. Kuzma with 5 early points. And games coming up later on today at 4:30 in Atlanta, Suns and Hawks. Phoenix is favored by 3.5. 4:30 tip in Indiana, the Kings and Pacers. Sacramento favored by 3.5. In Houston at 5, Raptors and Rockets. Houston a 4.5-point favorite. NBA TV at 5, Warriors are in Memphis to meet the Grizzlies. Golden State a 7.5-point favorite. At 5 o'clock in Minnesota, the Magic and the Timberwolves, who are on top of the Western Conference. Minnesota favored by 6.5. 5 o'clock tip in OKC, Hornets and Thunder. Oklahoma City, a whopping 15.5-point favorite. Down in San Antonio, 5 o'clock tip, Pelicans and Spurs. And New Orleans favored by 8.5. And the nightcapper, the 6 o'clock tip in Denver. Ball Arena, Trailblazers and Nuggets. Denver is favored by 12.5. And that is your scoreboard report here on Blazers Game Day. Tip-off's coming up at 6. Trailblazers pregame show at 5 with Chris Burkhardt. I want to talk about something that's pretty cool that we got going on here on 620 with the Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad. What we've got is we're going to do a cool event coming up a week from today. It's going to be Friday, February 9th. We're going to be at the Jackson's Food Mart in Lake Oswego. It's right there at the corner of I-5 and 217 off Bangy Road. You can see the Jackson's Food Mart from the freeway. And we're going to be there broadcasting live from their cooler, which is set at 37 degrees for 3 hours. In the cooler, freezing our booties off, talking sports, talking about the big game, but most importantly, raising money and awareness for ALS Northwest. My grandfather passed away from ALS. There are a lot of families in our community who are suffering from this, and the cost and the different types of care are extreme. And that's why it's important to help out where you can and support a good cause. So we got some ways for you to be able to do that and take part in our day. First off, just stop by and say hi at Jackson's off Bangy Road right there at I-5 and 217 next Friday from 3 to 6. You can say hi to us. I would love to see you. And if any of you have come to a remote, you know I like to get a chance to chat and hang out with you. So we'll be there live. You can also enter to win Trailblazer tickets by popping in and being a part of that, just by showing up. But most importantly, I want you to go to our auction page, and all you have to do is go to our homepage, Rip City Radio 620. You can scroll to the bottom of the homepage or go to our calendar page and then click on the icon that says Chillin' for a Cause. And right in that sheet, you will find the link for the auction. And right now, we've got multiple items up for bid that you can bid on and help raise money for ALS Northwest. We've got autographed Trailblazer basketballs, autographed by the entire team. We have for one night, for one game, the Coors Light Silver Seats, where you get to go to a Blazer game. You get to sit up in the captain's chairs, which are big, cushy chairs. You have your own area with your own table. They've got the cold rail technology to keep your beverage cold throughout the game, and they got phone chargers right there. It'd be a great night out with a group of guys or the ladies, or if it's a family and you want to hang out and have a little party at a Blazer game, the Coors Light Silver Seats are dope. So you can bid on that. We also have autographed Trailblazer pennants starting at $25, autographed by the Trailblazers team. You can bid to be able to host the Rip City Drive, and that means you can bid. If you win the bid, you can come in and program the show however you want. You want to talk sports? Fine. You want to talk about your business for 3 hours? That's fine too. Whatever it is that you want to do and however it is that you want to do it, that's up to you if you bid and you get to host the Rip City Drive for a day. You can also bid to play golf with Dwight and I out at Forest Hills Golf Course. You can also bid, and I think this is a great prize, to be a Trailblazer reporter for a day. You get a press pass. You hang out with me at Press Row. We take part in the post-game press conferences, the whole shebang. That's it. That's how it happens. So, and we also have an autographed Scoot Henderson jersey you can bid on. Now, one thing that we do have, you get to pick the show, but you can bid on a VIP night for 4 at RVN Style Resorts Amphitheater. So you get to sit in their elite seats in your own little box. You'll have a server to handle your drinks and take in a great concert. And those are the items. So go to our page and check out the auction items, bid, and help us support ALS Northwest. We're going to be out there live at Jackson's Food Mart from 3 to 6 next Friday. And that's the Jackson's off Bangy Road right there at I-5 and 217. Chilling for a cause. So I want you to come out and join us. It's going to be a good time. And not only that, but there are a lot of people, and you can include me in this group, but Dwight, over the course of time, has managed to annoy just about everyone in town. So if you want to see Dwight Janes suffer for 3 hours, you can come by and see him suffering inside of a 37-degree cooler. That alone is worth the trip to Jackson's. And you can stock up on your, some snack items, maybe some cold beverages for the big game on Sunday. So come out and join us next Friday. It's going to be a good time. Chilling for a cause. But the most important thing is the auction items. Go to our homepage, click on the calendar page. You'll find the icon for Chilling for a Cause. Click on that. You'll find the link for the auction page, and then boom, you're set. You can bid on items right now. Autographed basketballs, Coors Light silver seats, autographed pennants, host the Rip City Drive for a day, be a Blazer reporter with me for a day at an upcoming Trailblazer game, the VIP package out at the RVN Style Resorts Amphitheater in Clark County, or the autographed Scoot Henderson jersey. All right, so that's what's going on. That's going to be fun. And I can't wait to see Dwight suffering and complaining because he's freezing his booty off. I just haven't come up with a game plan yet. I'm definitely going long johns. I just am not sure how geared up I'm going to be, but I'm going to be geared up. You know what it's like when you're in cold weather and you're just sitting there, not moving, you get cold fast. Because I'm not going to be walking around. It's not like being out on the golf course in the morning when it's cold, but you're moving to kind of keep your body temp up. No, you're just sitting there talking. So that's going to be misery. Now, the other big piece of news today, I still can't believe it. I'm still shell-shocked. Carl Weathers passed away today at the age of 76. Or we got the news today, but according to the report I read, it happened on Tuesday. Carl Weathers played one of the most iconic characters of all time in Apollo Creed. 76. Oh, gosh, I hate that. Getting older sucks because you start to see the people you care about pass away. That's not an enjoyable part of life, I can tell you that much. My goodness. But other than that, excited about the game tonight. I just like the whole vibe around the Trailblazers right now. I like the way they're playing, especially on offense with the ball movement and player movement, the way that they're sharing the basketball. And when you do that and you play with that type of style, which is what Chauncey wants, it opens up better shots, which leads to better offense, better percentages. And they really did a heck of a job with that in that win over Milwaukee on Wednesday. The last couple of weeks, really ever since that road trip, we've seen the emphasis that's been placed on it by the coaches, and the guys are buying in. And so we're seeing good execution on offense. But I think part of that has been the continuity. The worst part for Chauncey this year has been the lack of availability. You know, guys being in and out of the lineup. Injuries. Sucks. But we've had continuity over the last couple of weeks. He's settled in on a starting lineup and a rotation, and now we're starting to see the product of that with better play. Because when guys are on the floor longer and they have a better understanding of where they're going to be and how they want to operate, and each guy together within the confines of the offense, they know the plays, they know what they need to do, they get a better feel for each other, and there's a lot of good things that come from that. So I am thrilled to see the offense. They've had a renewed effort and energy on defense. They started out the year really good defensively. There was some slippage, which happens with every NBA team throughout the course of the year, and now we're seeing them, really back, playing the way they want. So just a lot of good vibes around this team. And I think for Chauncey, too, he's got to come out with some confidence after that game against Milwaukee because he drew up a game plan and executed it and put his guys in a position to have success. And then we're getting steady play from both Grant and Ant, who are becoming big shot makers. The other thing that's been nice, once he got back, it took a little bit of time for him to get back up to speed, but DeAndre Ayton, 5 straight games from Ayton where he's been ultra productive. And you could make an argument that down the stretch, he was as valuable as anybody else on the team. That stretch in the fourth quarter, I mean, he was getting the ball in good spots, making shots. He was attacking the glass. I mean, his size and his presence is nice. And when he's on the floor, it makes the game easier for Grant and for Jabari Walker. It makes it easier for Ant, too, because they got a connection. I've always liked DeAndre Ayton, and I was excited when the Blazers got him. I'm just happy to see him in a position right now where he can excel. And he's playing with more confidence. And his teammates are doing a good job of getting him involved in the offense. But he's been solid the last 5 games. So that's a good thing. So the front court looks pretty legit right now. And Jabari, the young guys have really stepped up. But Jabari Walker, smart, works really hard, but he's the instinctive rebounder. He just knows the geometry. He knows where the ball is going to go when most people don't. And that allows him to get a jump and get to the ball and grab offensive rebounds and create for himself and, of course, give second chance point opportunities to his team. And the Blazers are much better this year, when they're rebounding well and crashing the offensive glass because it gives them those second chance point opportunities. So a lot of good things, a lot of good vibes around this team right now. All right, we'll come back, and when we do, we got the Coors Light Cold Hard Facts. I've still got my keys to the game. And then we've got the Trailblazer pregame show coming up at 5. Tip-off with the Blazers and Nuggets is coming up at 6 here on 620 Rip City Radio. All right, your first Coors Light Cold Hard Fact. We are going to be at Jackson's Food Mart off Bangy Road at I-5 and 217 next Friday for the Rip City Drive, live from their cooler, which is kept at 37 degrees. And we're raising money for ALS Northwest. So come out and join us. You can enter to win Trailblazer tickets. You can jump in the cooler and say hi to Dwight and I. But most importantly, go to our auction page where we've got a lot of great items, an autographed Scoot Henderson jersey, a VIP night for four at RVN Style or Resorts Amphitheater. You can be a Trailblazer reporter for a day. Hit the links with Dwight and I at Forest Hills Golf Club. You can co-host the Rip City Drive. You can program it however you want. You can bid on that. Autographed Trailblazer basketballs, Coors Light silver seats for a Trailblazer game, and autographed Trailblazer pennants. So jump on right now. Go to our homepage. Go to the calendar page at ripcityradio.com. Click on the icon for Chillin' for a Cause, and you'll see the link right there for our auction page and bid on items. It's going to be perfect. Perfect. Also, the other Coors Light Cold Hard Fact, Scoot Henderson is going to be just fine. I was nervous and concerned, just like the rest of you were at the beginning of the year, but he's young. He's in his first year, and it took a period of time for him to adjust coming out of the G League because the game moves so freaking fast. But he's starting to slow down in his mind. And he's starting to see things better in terms of passing lanes, knowing when to attack, how to use his athleticism, playing with more confidence. And he has been shooting better in spurts of late. Now, he still has a lot of work to do, but he is showing me signs that he's going to be just fine. And it goes back to his attitude, his work ethic, the demeanor, the way he approaches the game, his infectious personality, but the athleticism, like that dunk. You know, when your head's above the rim, you've got some hops. Just look at his body. He's a freak. He looks like Apollo Creed at a young man's age. And he's going to be a freak. He's still growing. He's going to fill out nicely. Like he's a man's body already. Just a man's body. The shoulders, everything, the definition. It's like, good gracious. The jealousy that rolls through my veins because of him and the way he looks, it's unbelievable. So I'm excited about Scoot. He's going to be just fine. But the Blazers appear to have him in a good role right now. Off the bench, knows what he needs to do, but his approach and the way his production in lesser minutes on the floor, but the confidence too. That game, that first half, that was something else. I had to go back and watch it again. You should do that. I would recommend it. If you got the game still in your DVR, go back and watch the first half again and watch the way Scoot played with confidence and no fear. And he's out there on that stage with Dame on his return, and he's out there unfazed by it. That's a good sign for a young player. Very good sign. So I can't wait to see him tonight. I'm totally into Scoot right now. I'm into watching him. I want to see the progression, and I like the way he handles himself. So I'm looking forward to tonight because Denver's tough. That's a darn good basketball team right there. I want to see how Scoot handles that. And I think it does help to have Chauncey Billups as his head coach, someone that played the same position, that kind of understands what he's going through. My guess would be in terms of communication, it's much like a head coach who was a quarterback, who understands offense talking to his QB. They speak the same language. And I think Chauncey can speak that language that a guy like Scoot will understand. And I think that helps in the development right now that he's in his formative years. But the explosiveness that he showed on Wednesday was great. He was a key part of that first half. Key. And it's helpful, too. He's got guys around him. Ant knows the deal. We've heard Dame over the last couple of days talk about his relationship with Ant. Kind of took him under his wing. Like, they're tight. And Dame has shared a lot of insight on the game, how to play different moves, all this different stuff with Ant. And so, of course, Ant understands the importance of having a mentor. So Ant will work with Scoot. Malcolm Brogdon's been a positive impact and a figure that they can look towards on how to be a leader, how to play, and ask questions. And that's what's great about a young guy like Scoot. He doesn't have that approach like a lot of guys do where he's like, hey, I got this. I got this, man. I got it. No. That's a fool's errand. Anytime I've uttered the phrase, I've got this, that's usually a sign I don't got this, and then something bad happens. But Scoot's like that. He asks questions. Very unassuming for a player of his caliber at such a young age. And I like that in a young man. Unassuming, works hard, listens to the coaches, his teammates, and is progressing. But if that's a sign of what's to come, I mean, think about it. We're like just over the halfway point. We're approaching the All-Star break. Like, how much better is this going to get for Scoot down the stretch? And if he can finish out the year with that type of progression going into the offseason with the full offseason of work and a season of the NBA under his belt, how much better off will he be the following year? And the great thing about the shooting, or at least what I've been told, that he may never become a knockdown three-point shooter like 39%. That may not be him. But you can work on your game and improve your shooting to where you don't become a liability when you're out there on the floor, causing the offense to bog down and putting pressure on your teammates. So he's just got to continue to really work and put in the time. But he's been doing that. And that's part of the reason why we're seeing the progression now. So, yeah, I'm big on Scoot. I really am. I like him. I like the way he rolls. I like the way he handles himself. I just like the way he processes. 503-248-0620 is your telephone number. If you had a desire to jump on, I welcome you. As I mentioned before, the only key cog that's going to be out will be Shaden Sharp. He's still dealing with the lower abdominal strain. So that continues to be an issue for him. And that's really the most unfortunate part right now is that you got the team playing well. It would be nice to have Shaden out there continuing his process of development, being able to be a part of something that's positive right now with the way this team has come together. And we thought going into the week that it was going to be tough, with the way that these guys had been playing with the schedule, right? Because look at the schedule. Philadelphia, and then you got Milwaukee, and then you got back-to-back games against Denver. On paper, it didn't look good. Like, it didn't look like a positive. But here we are now, back-to-back wins against Philly and Milwaukee. And the team's playing their best basketball of the year, which is terrific. So I just want to see more of that. But, yeah, that's where I'm at with Scoot. He's just been great. Attitude, process, the way he approaches everything. And we all want him to be great, right? That's what we want. So we'll see how it continues to progress. But the young guys, I would say that's my one of my biggest compliments of Billups and his staff has just been the overall development with Jabari and his progress, Scoot and the progressions he's made, Shaden Sharp, Tamani Kamara, those players and the way that the coaching staff has worked with them has been great. And after that 1-6 road trip, the team has proven that they're still listening to coach. The ebbs and flows of an NBA season, you can get gassed and have issues, but, the Blazers are grinding through that. All right, we'll come back. We got the keys to the game tonight. I'll share that with you. A tip-off's coming up at 6. Blazers and Nuggets here on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio. All right, keys to the game, very simple. Number one, continue to move the basketball. I want to see those assist numbers up between 26 to 30 tonight. They've done a great job of moving the ball, moving bodies, making the next pass, and that's going to make the game better for them. So do not settle for threes. Move the basketball, and don't be afraid to attack the rim. Look to get to the foul line. Set the tone early and be aggressive. If you start settling for threes and you start drawing iron, the Nuggets are going to get out and run. You don't want that. And as always, this is a point of emphasis. I should probably say this for every game. Focus on ball security. They were terrific with, I think, just 11 turnovers and 26 assists against Milwaukee. The live ball turnovers have been killing them. So they've got to focus in on protecting the basketball and not committing those silly turnovers that allow to easy buckets. Because if you do that in Denver at their arena, they're going to kill you. I do have an update from Michael Malone in regards to his lineup tonight. Let's take a listen.
Go through a shoot around this morning, so I'll go through his pregame routine and confirm that. But all signs point to him being available.
Saw a change in the status for Julian as well. Just how's he doing? Is he making progress?
Yeah, making a lot of progress. I think he'll be available tonight, at least on the active list. Don't foresee him playing tonight. He's been playing some small-sided games, against the coaches, a few of the other players, but I think this is why you have a G League team. We may use the G League to try to send him down there, get some practices, maybe get a game in, just kind of get.
All right, there you go. There's Denver Nuggets head coach Michael Malone. It looks like Nikola Jokic is going to play tonight. So, good. You want to go up against the best, and Jokic obviously is a terrific player, so that's going to be a good challenge for Ayton and that front court to deal with him. And what a problem he is. Playing terrific basketball. He can do everything. There's nothing he can't do. So it looks like Jokic is going to be a go tonight. But that's what the Blazers need to do. Don't settle for the three. Attack the rim. Be aggressive. Put the pressure on the officials early to show them that you're going to be the aggressor. Continue to move the basketball. And then from there, protect the ball. Watch the live ball turnovers. Because in that building, if they get hot, they start running, it could be a long night. But I don't think we're going to see that tonight. I expect the Blazers to play well. I don't know if they'll win it, but with the way they're playing right now, I think the Blazers have a good chance to grab one of the two because they're playing their best ball of the year. They're connected. They have an understanding of what they want to do. There's some continuity to the lineup. That will give them a chance in one of the next two, for sure. But I've gone through the numbers. I've shared this before. Historically speaking, playing at Denver, it's like a house of horrors for the Portland Trail Blazers. That, McNichols, and then Pepsi Center, now Ball Arena, and then Utah. Those are the two worst places by numbers for the Portland Trail Blazers over the years. But Denver's been the worst. It doesn't matter who's played for them, who the teams are, who the Blazers have had. It's just not a good place. It's tough. The altitude, the whole deal. And now they've got a really good team, and you got to deal with the altitude. The good thing is the Blazers played Wednesday. They were able to get some rest. And now they're going to play the game tonight. And the good thing is it's not a back-to-back. They'll get to stay in the rarefied air and get some rest tomorrow before the game on Sunday. So it'll give them a chance to acclimate because it is tough. I used to live in Colorado, and you don't notice as much when you live there. But when you go there and visit and that altitude hits, it makes a difference. And when you're running around, the breathing, it's just a different level of conditioning because your body's not accustomed to it. So there's a definite edge there. But the main reason why Denver's a tough place to play right now is because their basketball team's so good. And they're led by Jokic, who's arguably the best player on the planet right now. It's crazy. And that was a great run for them last year. I didn't think they could do it, but they sure did. And they look like a team. Now that you've gotten over the hump, they know what it takes to get there. It would surprise me if they don't win it again this year. I know that injuries can change everything, but if healthy, that's the team I would point to and say, yeah, they're going to win the championship against Boston, Milwaukee, whoever they face. They're that good. And I've got a lot of respect for Michael Malone. Heck of a coach. And he's one of those guys where he criticizes his players, his star players. He demands more from them. If they're not playing well, they go through a stretch where he feels they've been soft. He calls them out on that. He expects them to defend. He's earned their respect, and he coaches them hard. And it's just a sign that guys will respond to that if the opportunity is there. If you show them the way and they know they can have success and they know that you've got their best interest at heart, that you can coach them hard. And hopefully Chauncey can develop into that, where he can continue to demand and hold guys accountable and place expectations on them. Of course, his roster is a lot different because he's dealing with youth, a lot of young guys. Oh, also keep in mind, we're less than a week away from the trade deadline. It's going to come up on Thursday. So you're probably just prepare yourself, because as you get through the weekend into the beginning of next week, you're going to see and hear all sorts of rumors involving the Trailblazers and many other teams. So just strap in, because it's the calm before the storm. There's going to be a lot of stuff flying around. And that's just the way it always is every year. It's crazy. So we'll see how things shake out. That's what I'm looking for tonight. I think the Blazers will play well because they feel good about themselves right now and what they're doing. And they have continuity with the lineup. But I'm most excited about Ayton. 5 straight games. I hope he can make it 6. This is a good opportunity for him. Tough matchup with Jokic, obviously. But his presence, his size, it's such a big difference maker. And then the great play of Reef and how productive he's been, now he can come off the bench and settle into that backup role. And that's very helpful for the Trailblazers. All right, coming up next, Chris Burkhardt's got the Trailblazer pregame show. This is his first opportunity in that role, so he's going to be working with the captain, Rich Patterson. So I'm excited to hear Chris Burkhardt and see how that plays out for him. Tip-off will come up at 6. Travis Demers and Michael Holton will be on the call. And then I'll be back after the game here for the 5th quarter to break it down tonight. I appreciate your time. Don't forget to join Dwight and I next Friday at Jackson's Food Mart off Bangy Road at I-5 and 217. You can see it from I-5. We'll be out there from 3 to 6 broadcasting live from the cooler. It's a chance for you to stop by and enter to win Trailblazer tickets. Big thanks to the Trailblazers. And go to our auction page. Go to the homepage of our website. Go to our calendar page and click on the icon with Chillin' for a Cause. And then on that page, you'll find the link for the auction. Bid on the items. We've got some great items up, some relatively inexpensive, but every dollar that we bring in from the auction will go directly to all proceeds benefit ALS Northwest. All right, Trailblazer pregame show's up next. I'll talk to you in the 5th, my friends. Show me your Blazer.